Hello children. Poetry is a record of the best and happiest moments of the happiest and best minds, says P.B. Shelley. P.B. Shelley belongs to the second generation Romantic group of poets along with Lord Byron and John Keats. Romanticism was a literary movement against rationalism or reason of the 18th century. Romantic poets acclaimed imagination as the most important human faculty. They gave importance to imagination, irrational things. The Romanticism as a movement started in 1798 in England with the publication of lyrical ballads by Coleridge and Wordsworth. One of the important slogans of the Romanticism was "Back to Nature." They considered, or they tried to put forward, rustic life in their poetry, and spontaneity was another characteristic of Romantic movement. And they gave importance to rational things, irrational ideas, and they also believed that something exists beyond the material world. For Shelley, coming to Shelley, the nature represents a sublime world of sight, sublime world of sound and sensation. And he linked these ideas to freedom and love. Now, I welcome you to the topic Ode to a Skylark, written by Percy Bysshe Shelley. Welcome to the lesson. Percy Bysshe Shelley was born in 1792 at Sussex. He studied at Eton College, and from there he got the nickname Mad Shelley. He published The Necessity of Atheism along with Thomas J. Hogg, and he was expelled from the college. And it was the first English pamphlet to profess atheism. Shelley got married at the age of 19 to Harriet, but the marriage was not successful. And in 1814, he eloped with Mary Godwin, the daughter of William Godwin, who is the author of Political Justice. And his major works of Shelley are Queen Mab, Laster or the Spirit of Solitude, Mont Blanc, Hymn to Intellectual Beauty, Ozymandias, The Revolt of Islam, The Cenci, The Prometheus Unbound, The Mask of Anarchy. And also one of his major writing is A Defense of Poetry that was published in 1821. It was to the response to the article The Four Ages of Poetry, written by his friend Thomas Love Peacock. In Defense of Poetry, he says that poet is an unacknowledged legislator of the world. It is the duty or the aim of the poets is that to correct the ills of humanity. And he says in that poetry is the record of the best and happiest moments of the happiest and best minds. A poet is a nightingale who sits in darkness and sings to cheer its own solitude with sweet sounds. In 1822, 8th July, he drowned in a boat capsized at the Bay of Spezzia. And if you are coming into the poem Ode to a Skylark, the name suggests it is an ode. Please refer to the page number in our main textbook Appreciating Poetry, page number 16. What is an ode? Ode is a subcategory of lyric poem. It often addresses a lofty idea or a majestic idea. There is a tone of reference there, and there is a marked formality. And in the ode, we can see that Ode to a Skylark, we can see that it is a 5-lined stanzaic poem. No, a stanza consists of 5 lines. Altogether it got 21 stanzas. And the lines are rhyming A, B, A, B, B, A, B, A, B, B. Skylark is the symbol of poetic expression. And in that we got 3 comparisons, major comparisons. That is, the skylark is compared to a lonely maiden in a palace tower. It is compared to a golden glowworm, and it is compared to a rose embowered in its own green leaves. The poetry of Shelley is noted for its lyrical power, its descriptive power, and it gives radiance to the wild things through personification by personifying those things. Its style is passionate, intense, and we can see the emotional outbursts through his poetry. There is no humor, no element of humor can be detected there. And he also combines pantheism and Platonism in his nature poems. Pantheism is that a doctrine which identifies God with universe. And Platonism is in the view that there exist abstract ideas or abstract objects, that is non-physical things, transcendental we can say. Matthew Arnold is given a scathing remark against P.B. Shelley, that he is a beautiful and ineffectual angel beating in the void his luminous wings in vain. That is what Matthew Arnold spoke about him. An ode to a skylark. We are diving into the poem. One of the best odes of Shelley, I already told you, ode is the subcategory of lyric poem. It addresses a lofty idea or majestic idea, and the subject of the poem, here it is skylark or whatever be the subject, it is elevated by praise. Now, Abraham Cowley introduced odes to English. Please refer to the ode in page number 16. And here, the poet endowed the bird with heavenly quality. The bird becomes a metaphor for poet himself. I told you a stanza consists of 4 lines. First 4 lines are written in trochaic trimeter, and the last line written in iambic hexameter. What is trochaic trimeter? Trochaic is the form of stress, a pattern of stress in poetry, like iamb, like spondee. Trochaic, it follows like this: a stressed syllable followed by unstressed. A stressed syllable is followed by unstressed. And what is this trimeter? So if you are coming into the poem, hail to thee, blithe spirit. Hail, first syllable, to, second syllable, thee, third syllable, blithe, fourth syllable, spay, fifth, writ, sixth. So altogether we got 6 syllables in the line, and each 2 syllables, first syllable can be called as a food. The combination of a syllable, 2 syllables can be called as food. So we got hail to 1, first food, thee, blithe, second food, spay, writ, third food. 3 times the pattern is repeated. So we can say it consists of 3 metrical feet, hence it is trimeter. So stress pattern is stressed and unstressed, means trochaic, and 3 metrical feet, hence it is called trimeter. And the 5th line, in profuse strains of unpremeditated art. It contains how many syllables? In profuse strains of unpremeditated art. 12 syllables altogether. So combination of 2 syllables forms a foot. So altogether 6 metrical feet, hence it is called hexameter. And the stress follows. Stressed, first syllable is unstressed, second syllable is stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed. Hence it is iambic. So fifth line is in the form of iambic hexameter. Mary Shelley recalls, it was on a beautiful summer evening while wandering in the lanes near Leghorn, a port city in Italy, whose myrtle edges were the bowers of the fireflies, that we heard the caroling of the Skylark, which inspired one of the most beautiful of his poems. Once they were in Leghorn, the port city, they heard the caroling of the Skylark. Usually male Skylark sings. The stanzaic structure of the poem is well suited to its theme. The first 4 lines verbalize the rapid upward flight of the bird, while the long 5th line, written in iambic hexameter, is an Alexandrine, called as Alexandrine, which expresses the lark's poise in the sky. So once we are into the poem. Hail, so let me read the poem. First stanza according to the stress. Let me try to read. Hail to thee, blithe spirit, bird thou never were, that from heaven or near it pourest thy full heart in profuse strains of unpremeditated art. Yes, we are into the poem now. Hail to thee, blithe spirit, bird thou never were, that from heaven or near it pourest thy full heart in profuse strains of unpremeditated art. Shelley is actually praising the bird. Hail to thee, praising the bird. Blithe spirit, a joyful spirit. See, he is not accepting the bird Skylark as a mere bird, but he loved to call it as a spirit. It is actually a spirit. So definitely it will be coming around from heaven or something near to that. It doesn't belong to earth. Hail to thee, blithe spirit, bird thou never were. You are not a bird. That from heaven or near it, you are from heaven or near to that, and you are pouring thy full heart in profuse strains of unpremeditated art, and you are pouring your full emotions, you are expressing your full emotions in strains of unpremeditated art. You are pouring your full emotions in plenty, in musical notes you are pouring, you are singing your full emotions, that too unpremeditated art, that it is unplanned. The poetry is the spontaneous flow. You're unplanned, your singing is unplanned, and your musical notes are just flowing, are pouring from you. So we can see that the poem is also opens with a figure of speech, apostrophe, that the speaker is directly addressing something or someone. Here we can see Shelley is addressing the bird as blithe spirit. So apostrophe is used here. And pourest thy full heart in profuse strains of unpremeditated art. Here the spirit, the emotions expressed, actually expressing emotions is related to human, and here that is personified, bird is personified here. And coming to the next stanza, higher still and higher. See, bird is upward flight of the bird. Higher still and higher. From the earth of spring is like a cloud of fire. See, what an image that Shelley is comparing or giving to a bird, like a cloud of fire. It is like a cloud of fire, and you are springing from earth. You are going from earth higher and higher. You are flying higher and higher. The blue deep thou wingest, and singing still dost soar, and soaring ever singest. Blue deep thou wingest. See, blue deep. Then we just think about both the sky and ocean, right? We also think about the blue deep sea. So poet is mixing the ideas of sea, is mixing the idea of sky, and adds the topsy-turving feeling of ecstasy here, isn't it? And poet is saying that bird flies higher and higher towards heaven or sky from earth like a cloud of fire, and it's flying up to the blue deep of the sky and singing all the way. It is singing all the way. And here the poet also captures the feeling of, captures the freedom of Skylark singing and soaring, singing and flying, flying and singing. He switches, just notice he switches the order of words, and singing still does soar, and soaring ever singest. He just switches the order of words. That is the literary device named chiasmus, literary device in which words are repeated in reverse order. Okay, I hope you understood. And we are coming towards the third stanza. In the golden lightning of the sunken sun, sir, sound is repeated, consonant to sir is repeated. So we can say it is an alliteration, example of an alliteration, repetition of initial consonant sound. In the golden lightning of the sunken sun, beautiful sunset is actually brightening the whole sky and clouds, and that over which clouds are brightening. In the sunken sun, the beauty and the golden lightning, clouds are also brightening. Though does float and run, and you are in the sky, you are just not flying, but you are just floating or gliding in the sky. And you are like an unbodied joy whose race is just begun. Unbodied joy, out of body experience, unbodied joy whose race is just begun. You're very powerful, you're just feeling of freshness, like your race is just begun. You're just flying, you're flying, just begun. Your race is just begun. Then, and it is at its full of energy as its race has just begun. The pale purple, even melts round thy flight like a star of heaven in the broad daylight. Thou art unseen, but yet I hear thy shrill delight. The pale purple, two consonants are repeating, per and per. Again, it is an example of alliteration. Pale purple of the sky melts around its flight, around the flight of Skylark. And it is, we can see the second simile, right? First is like an unbodied joy, and now it is like a star of heaven, second one. And it is compared to a star of heaven. And in the light, in the broad daylight, star is just unseen. Like that, if you're even if you're flying higher and higher, we cannot just see you, but you are there. Like, I can hear your shrill delight. I can hear your shrill delight. Shrill mean it is associated with ear-piercing sound, something like that. Shrill, delight, joyous, joyful, joyous sound. So here it is saying, but yet I hear thy shrill delight, keen as are the arrows of that silver spear. Your shrill delight is keen and sharp as are the arrows of the light of that silver spear. Of that silver spear, previously you already told about like a star of heaven. Maybe he is talking about that star. Of that silver spear, his voice, the voice of the singing of the Skylark, is compared to the light that is coming from that silver spear, and whose intense lamp narrows in the white down clear until we hardly see. We feel that it is there, and this lamp and this light just narrows in the broad daylight, in the white down. Like white down, it is mentioned, the star of the white, morning star, it is often associated with Venus, right? So it can be Venus that he is speaking about. So the intense lamp narrows in or gets diminish in the morning, but we hardly see the bird, but we hardly see the star, but we know it is there. Like that, even if we can't see Skylark, the bird cannot be seen, we know, Shelley knows that it is there because he can hear its delight, he can hear it singing. Now, coming to the next paragraph. All the earth and air with thy voice is loud, as when night is bare from one lonely cloud, the moon rains out her beams and heaven is overflowed. All the earth and air with thy voice is loud. All the earth, all the air with your voice is loud. Your voice is filled all the earth and air. As like what? What is the next comparison? We are just eager to know what would be Shelley comparing the Skylark to next, to what he is going to compare with, right? As when night is bare, like it is a bare night, only one cloud can be seen. From one lonely cloud, the moon rains out her beams. So moon was covered by this cloud, but its beams is reflected in the cloud, reflected on the cloud, and it is also glowing like that. Heaven is also overflowed with the light of the moon, or we can say the song of the skylark bird has filled the heaven. How the lonely cloud, the light of the moon to the lonely cloud, how it fills the earth, how it fills the sky, like that your song has filled earth and heaven. Heaven is overflowed. And what is the next thing? What is the next paragraph is all about? What thou art we know not. We don't know actually who you are. What thou art we know not. What is most like thee? From rainbow clouds there flow not drops so bright to see, as from thy presence showers a rain of melody. What you are we know not. We don't know who you are. What is most like thee? Shelley cannot find an apt comparison to compare Skylark to, and he is not satisfied with the earlier comparisons. Now he is trying to compare it with the rainbow clouds. There flow not drops of so bright to see. The drops from the rainbow clouds, that is also not beautiful as it as your song. Like from rainbow clouds there flow not drops so bright to see, as from thy presence showers a rain of melody. Bright raindrops coming out of a rainbow cloud is not as enchanting as the bird song. Rain of melody is more beautiful than actual rain. And we can say that literary device synesthesia is used here. That is cadence of the bird song, that is a rain of melody. It's actually, we'll just remember to the visual phenomenon of colors too from the raindrops. Like, so it's just synesthesia, it is the literary device that is used here. Now, coming towards the next paragraph. Like a poet hidden in the light of thought, singing hymns unbidden, till the world is wrought to sympathy with hopes and fears it heeded not. Now, he's comparing the skylark, to a poet. It is the poetic creation, is the act of the poetic creativity. The act of poetic creativity is going to speak about the act of poetic creativity. Bird song is like a mystical creation of poetry, and that is created in the light of thought. In poets, bird song is like mystical creation of the poetry, and here we can say the poet is in the light of thought. He's singing hymns unbidden. It is nobody has asked a poet to sing, but the words are just flowing out, and words are not asked for. He's just creating the words, and we can see that till the world is wrought to sympathy with hopes and fears it heeded not. Poet's work is to make the world feel sympathy. Only through poetry people can be made to see them, and poems or the poetry help people to see the world in a very new light. That is what is said in this paragraph. And coming towards the next paragraph. Like a high-born maiden in a palace tower, soothing a love-laden soul in secret hour, with music sweet as love which overflows her bower. Now the poet is comparing the bird to an unmarried woman, a high-born maiden in a palace tower, and singing music, or the music, it soothes a love-laden soul, and it overflows, the music, it overflows her bower. And now the Shelley is comparing Already Shelley has compared the skylark bird to a poet, like a poet. It is like a poet. Skylark is also there, pouring its full heart of emotion and full freedom. And now it is actually an inspiration. And now it is comparing to a highborn maiden, to an unmarried woman, like how her bower is overflowed, our bower is filled with a song, like that you are filling, the skylark is filling the whole earth, or skylark is filling the whole world with its music. And now coming towards the next paragraph. Like a glowworm golden in a dell of dew, scattering unbeholden its aerial hue among the flowers and grass which screen it from the view, like a glowworm golden in a dell of dew, like a glowworm golden in a valley of dew. And it just scatters its aerial hue. How it scatters, how the glowworm just scatters its colorful light among the flowers and grass, even though it cannot be seen, even though the glowworm can't be seen itself. Like that, you are also filling the world, you are also scattering the power of music, everything around you, around the earth, around everything around you. That is what the comparison Shelley gives. Coming towards the next paragraph. Like a rose embowered in its own green leaves, by warm winds deflowered, till the scent it gives makes faint with too much sweet those heavy winged thieves. Like a rose embowered, and here embowered, and now we are going back to the previous stanza where it was speaking about the unmarried woman who singing in her bower, in her chamber. Embowered in the sense of rose, and bower of the woman. Shelley is asking us to go back to that also. Like a rose embowered in its own green leaves, by warm winds deflowered, till the warm winds just deflower the rose, then till then the scent of the rose is just scattering all around, and that scent itself faint the heavy winged thieves. Who can be the heavy winged thieves? Of course, it can be bees. Bees steal the flowers' pollen, and empowered rose from bees steal pollen from the flowers like embowered rose, and it releases a sweet scent. The flower, when it gets deflowered by the warm winds, the scent which it gives that faints the bees around it, heavy winged thieves. Like a rose embowered in its own green leaves, by warm winds deflowered, till the scent it gives makes faint with too much sweet those heavy winged thieves. So we are into the discussion up to this paragraph. From next class we will complete the poem, and now I'm winding up the session, so we will meet in the next class. Thank you.